beginning with the Broncos and the Chargers, this game in Denver. We see Justin Herbert coming here and facing arguably a little bit tougher of a defense. The Denver Broncos have been picking it up in terms of their defensive output, but I don't really know that it's going to matter too much. We've seen Justin Herbert perform well against a great defense in Tampa Bay. He's been unstoppable up to this point. Let's see what he can do again here in Week 8 in this divisional matchup. Chargers trying to get their second win in a row here, whereas the Broncos just trying to salvage what's left of their season. So 45-point over-under shows that Vegas does believe this will be a little bit of a lower scoring game, and they're not really giving the Chargers much of a cushion here. They're only up -3. I thought this would actually be a bigger line, so I'm pretty in favor of betting on the Chargers in this one. Implied point total is about 24 to 21, but I think Herbert can do a little bit better than that. We see here that the Chargers have actually given up a decent amount of points to quarterbacks, running backs, and tight ends. Not really that excited about Drew Lock, but there's a couple pieces here on the Broncos side that we'll be looking at starting, whereas on the Broncos side, they have been very, very dominant against the run, not so much against receivers, but with Bouye back, definitely will be a little bit trickier for Herbert and Keenan Allen to maneuver, but at this point, I think Keenan Allen is pretty much an every week start, regardless of the matchup. Not going to be talking you out of playing him, so if you're asking me, this game is pretty easy on both sides of who we're starting. On the Chargers side, we're going to start the three guys between Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, and Hunter Henry. And I think the Chargers defense are most certainly in play here going against the Drew Lock-led Broncos that has been, prone to plenty of turnovers, as we saw last week versus the Chiefs. The Broncos are very good at giving defensive points away, so I think the Chargers have a pretty strong defensive play in this week. Now, the real question is, can you trust either Justin Jackson or Joshua Kelley? And that is definitely a toss-up. So 2 games ago versus the Saints, we saw Justin Jackson have about 65% of the snaps. You saw the majority of the touches, majority of the targets, whereas last week, Joshua Kelley ended up seeing the majority of the snaps. Justin Jackson not looking as good. Both finished with about the same amount of fantasy points, and neither of them really had a great day. So you take the fact that we don't know who was going to end up being the starter this week, and then throw them into a matchup where the Broncos have allowed some of the least amount of fantasy points to the running back position. I think this is a situation you want to avoid this week, regardless of who you have. If you're stuck, I would probably play Jackson over Kelley if you had to pick one or the other. But if you can avoid both, I think that would be a smart idea. Mike Williams is going to be a boomer bust guy that gives you an incredibly low floor and an incredibly high ceiling each week. Same thing with Jalen Guyton. Both of these guys are good for, putting up a massive fantasy day on, 2 or 3 catches where, 1 or 2 of them goes for a really long touchdown. But they're not consistent enough for me to really want to be starting them. They're definitely streaming options if you need a Hail Mary play, but not someone I'd be looking to throw into my starting lineup. On the Broncos side, a couple of interesting things to watch out for here, namely with the receivers. Tim Patrick not practicing as of Thursday. Jerry Jeudy may be the only really healthy wide receiver of note heading in. I'm a little bit more excited about playing Jerry Jeudy if Tim Patrick is out, if both of them are playing. Not really excited for any of the pass catchers in this offense. With Phillip Lindsay likely to miss this week, I think Melvin Gordon is an okay play. Chargers' run defense hasn't been anything scary up to this point, and their defense against tight ends has been weak. I know Noah Fant just busted last week, but it was his first game back from an injury. Give him a little bit of time to come back fully healthy. What we saw from Noah Fant to start the year was great, and I do think that we'll see a much better day from Noah Fant here in Week 8. So Gordon and Fant are the only guys I am excited about starting. Everyone else here on this offense I'm pretty much staying away from. Got the Chargers winning this one pretty easily. I see them scoring a bit more than Vegas is expecting. I got them winning 34 to the Broncos 23.